Hello and welcome to the Beautifully Human podcast. I'm Nick Sheesby. In this podcast, I speak with beautiful humans from all around the world, sharing with you their incredible stories, revealing the power in every human story, to spread love and humanity to a world that is in desperate need of it, to show that we can all connect in beautiful ways, no matter where we come from or what we look like. What you will find out is that we are all beautifully human. Let's all be beautifully human. Hello and welcome to the Beautifully Human podcast. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. Today I am hanging out with Samae, who I met in El Paso, Texas years ago, and we connected again to have this beautiful conversation about their artwork and their veganism and the community that they and their family created through a restaurant that they had, which is where I met them at. And we just, had a great time chatting. And I just really hope that you enjoy the conversation that we had. If you enjoy this podcast, follow us on Instagram at the Beautifully Human Podcast and rate and review on Spotify. It always helps. And again, please enjoy this beautiful conversation with Samae. I love to start these off with a very broad and open-ended question and let you take it from there. And the question is, tell me the story of your life.
Ooh, man, that is a question. Like, to sum up my life, my parents were always very cool. I've always grown up surrounded by like music and food. Like that's been a huge thing. And art. Music, food, and art is like huge, huge, huge. And I kind of didn't realize that that's not how everybody else grew up. I'm like, what do you mean you weren't listening to Erykah Badu when you were 6? Like, know, like jamming in the, or like your dad wasn't playing house music and cooking food. I'm like, that is so weird, you know? But yeah, so I think like very, very highly influenced by creative people throughout my whole life. And then now that I guess you could say like officially an adult, I'm 20, so ish. Like I'm still a child, but I don't know. I get to kind of like explore my own thing, and I'm very thankful for the people that have taught me what I know. So I like teaching kids art, and I like teaching them about like math or how to read and write and spell their names. So right now I'm working on getting a degree in art, and then that way I can teach some kiddos. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That's amazing. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's like anytime I meet people from wherever they are and wherever they grow up, it's always a funny question when you're like, how was it growing up and fill in the blank? But like the answer to most people is like, well, it's what I knew, it's what I grew up with. So like to me, it's just normal. So for you to be like, you didn't grow up like listening to Erykah Badu in the car with your dad and like
Yeah,
where yeah, like I don't think a lot of people like I definitely had a different upbringing. Like, I mean, mine was more like classic rock and then like a lot of Christian music. So at least I had the classic rock in there, Like I
for
think my
sure.
first stuff was like the Beach Boys and the Beatles and things like that.
Nice.
The basics which you need in life. But like that's so fun to like have your dad playing house music and making food. That's so great.
And then my mom, she's like just there, like they're working and all of that. And then once they opened their business, she became like this garden lady. And I was like, go mom. Like,
Yeah, work.
you know?
Yeah.
So
That's so fun.
very, very cool.
Yeah, and I love that you like saw how awesome that felt to have creativity around you when you were a kid. So now you're like, that'd be rad to put onto young kiddos now. I think that's really
Mhm.
neat.
For sure.
I think we definitely need more people to help creativity in us and keep it going because I think I was talking to a friend today and we were talking about how like kids just are so innocently joyful on just like the smallest things and like the creativity that you see in kids. And like as we all get older, we lose little bits of that. So I think it's awesome that you're still like in your creative phase, you're doing your art, but you're also like, I'm gonna inspire some kiddos along the way too.
For sure. Yeah, I just like being able to pave the way for, especially because not everybody like has an outlet for art or creativity. So if I can be somebody that provides that for people who are like going to be our next generation and decide what our world looks like, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, as someone who's a couple like, a bit older than you, it's like it's awesome to see people in your age bracket like doing these kind of things and like having these creative thoughts and wanting to help younger generations too. Like you just said, like we all have to inspire others, but it's awesome to see like your generation and what you all are up to, plus what you're trying to put down for the younger kids too. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So where are you studying?
So I started in May. I'm gonna start at EPCC, and then I want to go for my main art classes to UTEP.
Okay. In
Hmm.
it's University of Texas, El Paso?
Yes.
Right.
I forget. Again, I grew up, everybody around me, you just say UTEP and they're like, oh, okay.
So do your parents still do their restaurant? Are you still involved in that?
Yeah, so crazy thing, we close on the 23rd.
Oh no.
Like like restaurant closed, that's it.
Okay.
They're gonna bring it back sometime in the future, um but yeah, I work with them. I'm in the back. Right now it's me, my coworker Daniel, and my dad. We're in the kitchen, and then my mom and the volunteers run the pay it forward. And I mean, it's been pretty good, bittersweet. I'm really surprised that my parents aren't like, man, I'm so sad. I mean, like, yes, but my dad's like, don't worry, like this. It's because he's so like hippie. He's like, this was meant to happen. Like we're just gonna move forward, and it's gonna be okay. If you want to talk, we can talk, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that makes me feel better. Um, but no, yeah. So 23rd is our last day. The So when you came, you got to see the space. It's inside of a church,
Yeah.
and we rent the space from a church. It's really interesting. I don't know. And in the back, there's a whole garden with over 52 beds. It's a community thing. There's a pay it forward program where we feed people that are less fortunate or cannot afford a meal at the time. And like, it's a great thing. So somebody bought the building and was like, you guys have 6 months. And
Ah.
that 6 months ends on January 1st. So
Ah. Bummer.
yeah. But we recently learned that they're making it an Annunciation house.
Okay.
So like yeah, people can come and they'll live there and they'll be able to like shower and bathe and all of that. So I was like, you know what, I'm not that bad anymore.
Yeah. No, at least
Because
it's
I
going to
yeah.
something nice. I mean, because you were working with some, with the program, the Pay It Forward, where it was helping less fortunate. So at least it's like kind of still staying in that direction.
Yeah, I'm like that I can be less mad about and appreciate because I totally felt like if they take this down and make it some like corporate building, I'm gonna be pissed, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But an Annunciation house, I'm like, okay, I can
Yeah.
find peace with that.
Yeah. And that's so cool that I mean, at such a young age that you got to be involved with food and helping less fortunate people in such a beautiful space. Because I remember when I came in there, I was just like, this is so good. Like the food was amazing, and like the garden was just magical, and it was a really cool I've never forgotten that day. Like I remember fondly going through there and being like, yes, and like. Anytime my friends go through El Paso, I don't know if they did, but I would be like, you have to check it out. Like, so I was pushing for it because I was just like, it was such a beautiful space where yeah, it just felt really good to be there.
That's really cool. I'm I'm glad that it like impacted you that much. And we get stories like that from people that travel, or they'll be like, my friend blah 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 sent me, they live in New York and they traveled, like they just came across here like just to visit, or like we'll have somebody that's, I remember this one guy, he was a model. I don't know, it was like the most like out out of this world kind of thing that was going on. And he's a model, like really beautiful, like tall, like black man with these awesome, like thin dreads. And like, I don't know, he was just like, he walked in and the room would shine, like, oh,
Yeah.
he was awesome, you know? And I was like, oh, who is this man? And he told me I'm a model, blah, blah. My wife is giving birth to our baby in, I forget where, but I think he was LA going like somewhere across really far. And he said, I'm making a little movie for my baby, and I'm driving here and I'm going to different restaurants and I'm seeing and meeting different people. So I'm in that film. And he's like, and I'm gonna show my kid when he's older and he can understand, and I'm gonna show him how I traveled from here to here just in time for him to be born and to be with him. And I was like, what?
That is so
So
cute.
we'll get stuff like that. And I feel like you cannot experience that at any other restaurant. You
No,
know? Like if you're working at an Olive Garden, are you gonna get somebody that no?
no,
But
no.
vegan, working at a vegan place that like feeds the less fortunate, that grabs food from the local garden that my mom and volunteers, but like that's insane. So I'm really happy that I got to be a part of that. And I think that it's impacted other people too. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like I said, it was definitely one of the cooler experiences I found. And it was also really cool because I think like when you grow up somewhere, you know that place, and like when you
Mhm.
travel a lot like I do, and then you talk to people who don't travel a lot, like certain places in the world get the like stigma of whatever, just based off of whatever brief knowledge they have of these places. And so I'd be like,
Right.
I would tell people, I'd be like, if you go to El Paso, and they're like, El Paso, what?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Why?
yeah. They're like, well, what, really? And I'm like, oh my God, like it's got this cool vibe to it. And like, then I would tell them about your spot, and I was just like, you got to check this place out. And yeah, it's fun to like also help be like, this is a really cool thing that they're doing there, and like there's a good community, and like just I don't know, it's the traveler in me that getting to see as many places as I do, because I'm fortunate enough to travel a lot, that
Mhm.
it's just really really fun to like inspire that in people, but also like you're a part of that being there, and like putting out that with your place, and like providing that community for people. So that's a really cool thing that again that you all were a part of.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really awesome. And the thing about El Paso is that they're very community based. Like everybody tries to be there for everyone. Well, I can't say everyone, but more than if you were to go somewhere else, you know? Like I haven't traveled as much as you, but anytime I travel, I think the only time I've seen more my dog's like in the corner. The only time I've seen more like community and where people, everybody's just happy and everybody's having the best day of their lives is in Portland. But
Mm,
that's
yeah,
Portland.
right.
Um, but other than that, like El Paso, people from El Paso are pretty decent, kind people. And like they're there for you and they're very supportive, especially in the art community.
Yeah,
Like the art community is very supportive of one another.
I love that.
And so it's very cool. Very cool, especially for like young artists coming in, like how I was,
Hmm.
because I didn't have to feel like there was competition. The people that were above me were there to teach me, and
Sure.
they wanted me to grow as a person and an artist. And I was like, what? That is so cool. So,
And truly rare, because I have a lot of friends who do art all over the place, and like from
mhm.
the horror stories that I've heard from people just like getting trampled on. And I mean, that might be because like obviously the bigger the city, the more people doing it, the more competitive
Yeah.
kind of vibe. But like, I don't know, I haven't really heard many people in the art scene be like, it was just really lovely. People were there for me, this whole thing. So that I love that. I think that's really, really incredible for you.
Yeah, very cool. Because I took over my parents' vending tent downtown to sell my art.
Yeah.
And I was still in high school and I was 15 and my parents were driving me there and everybody's like, "Wow, this is awesome. You let me get you connected with this artist that I know. Wow, I'm an artist. Let me get you connected with my friends." So by the time I was 18, I like was looking into no, I had an art studio. I had an art studio and like was like slinging my art and like getting the bills paid and doing all my stuff and like selling merch and and I think I cannot say, oh, that was all me. That was not all
Sure.
me. Like the community and my family and my friends like built me up and we're like, here, let's put you on this pedestal and help you get where you want. And I was like, yes, let's go, you know?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I want to do is like provide that for other people. So
Yeah.
just whatever like you get, I feel like you should give tenfold, which is funny because usually you hear whatever you give, you should get tenfold.
Right. Right. It's a very, very good switch on it of like, you should give that
Yeah.
out because like
Yeah.
we're all fortunate in some ways, we're all privileged. I mean, not all, but I guess like, you and I were sitting here having this conversation and like coming from a part of a privileged spot with these conversations.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
beautiful to like, yeah, push that back out. So do you still have your studio? And is that where you're going to try and like start doing your classes and stuff or like teaching people?
Yeah, so I don't have my studio anymore, but I also don't live at my parents' house anymore.
Okay.
Uh yeah. So right now I'm in my apartment with my best friend who is also my roommate, which we've been living together for a year now.
Nice.
It's been pretty good.
The big step
But I
getting
mean
your
I
first
can't.
place.
Oh yeah. It was a big step. And we live in a little apartment complex with like my apartment is people walk in and they're like, "What is this art gallery ass apartment?" Like because both me and my friend were both artists.
Yeah.
So it's covered from like head to toe in paintings that are ours or like from our friends. 80% of them are local. But yeah, so I don't have my art studio anymore, but I do have my little spot that I'm very thankful for. My friend who used to be one of our old roommates and actually qualified for free housing, which is fucking awesome. Um, they're like, "Well, I don't have a lot of stuff. I just have enough to fit in a room, so you can make your art studio in my living room." And I was like, "What? Okay."
Shit.
So I
Work.
so that's the new art studio.
Okay.
It's Rigby's living room.
Rigby's living room. I like that.
Yeah. hmm
Nice. So do you all just kind of like go in and work together or is it kind of a communal vibe in there too?
Well, right now, all my friends are really busy. So if Dolly is doing art, it's because it's for like school, you know? Um, but I mean, Rigby's like, "Oh, you can, yeah, anybody can come over." I'm like, "Okay." So if one of my friends want to make art, then maybe I'll invite them over. I know my friend, Berlin will go over and I'll be drawing while we watch TV and like eat food with Rigby and stuff. Super, super chill. Um, But yeah, usually it's just me, like
Okay.
doing the art.
Nice. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's just popping into my head. And like me as a person, like I am a massive admirer of art. I love it. I love paintings. I love drawings. I love tattoos. But I am a person that just like cannot get things from like head to fingers to paper. Just doesn't work for me. And that's fine. Everyone's got their talents. So like when did you like develop your like when did you start into like being able to draw and like put your ideas onto paper?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been into drawing, but I think it started coming out a little more how I imagine things. Maybe when I was like 12, and I was like, "Hey, this looks pretty cool." And then I just started cleaning my stuff up. And I think when I turned 18, or no, 17. When I was 17, I was like, my shit is good. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, and it was coming out cool because my stuff looked really cool when I was like 15, like 15, 16, but it wasn't the way I imagined it being exactly on the paper. I was just kind of like, okay, I want something to look this way. I need to practice that. But but no, yeah. What's cool is that I just continue growing and like my stuff gets a little cleaner and a little better, and I'm like, ooh, it makes me excited.
Yeah. No, I remember also like getting to see your art too when we were at the restaurant, and it was just
Yeah.
like it was so fun. And like that's why I've kept like watching your Instagram and like keeping like a brief contact with you. And then I was just like, I just want to talk to you because I remember you were so nice and so cool, and your art was just so fun. So I don't know, again, I'm just a massive admirer of art, so I always love to hear like, I don't know how like it gets from like mine to whatever medium you're using, because it just doesn't
For sure.
doesn't flow for me.
Real. No, I get that. That's why I'm with certain things like music. I cannot play an instrument for my life.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know what it is. My like the hand eye coordination is not a thing for me. I don't get it. Um, but drawing is fun. Painting is fun. Spray painting is very fun.
I mean, I just got this place, and I like, have you ever done any murals?
I mean, I used to do murals on my wall in my room,
Okay.
but I haven't done it from like outside of that.
Got it. Well,
Hmm.
I have this big wall in my house that I'm like trying to think of fun ideas for a mural. So maybe when I get an idea, I'll be like, "Do you want to come out to Baltimore and like paint up my house?"
Let's go.
That'd be super fun.
I'm so poor, but that sounds awesome. Maybe I won't be poor by then.
Maybe. I mean, I would absolutely pay you if I was like, "Come paint my house." I would give you money for your art.
Oh yeah,
I
for
wouldn't just
sure.
be like, "Come on out and just like be here and like do this cool shit in
Come
my
paint my
house."
wall. Okay, now leave.
Yeah, bye. Bye. Um, so we were talking a little bit about traveling, and like just as someone who loves traveling, like I always love to ask, like if I came to you and I was like, "Hey, I have a blank ticket to anywhere in the whole wide world, and you can go anywhere, where would you go?"
Oh, dude, I think I would go to Hawaii. I've
All right.
never been, um, but like I have cousins who lived there, and they would go like every year and stuff. And I'm like, ah, it just seems so pretty, and I know it doesn't smell like smog, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like the ocean is there. I love the ocean, even though it freaks me out, but I love it. Um, yeah, I'm like, wow, it's so beautiful. And then I see like a rock move and it's over.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like running.
Yeah, I have a very healthy fear of the ocean. I don't even know if it's a fear. It's more of just like a respect. I'm like, I don't care how good of a swimmer or like what you got going on. Like, we're not meant to be in there, and the shit that's in there is really fucking good at being in there. And like, that's that. In the power
Agreed.
of water, if you've seen a waterfall, you know that like you lose that battle every time. So I'm
Like
just have a
it's
good
so
respect.
over.
Yeah.
It's so over. You fall out your little boat, it's over.
Yeah.
You stay in your boat, it's still over.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in a boat and like a monster wave comes out, and it's just done. Yeah. Yeah. I went to Hawaii. Oh my God. It was ages ago, but it was really neat. Like just to just to be on an island was really cool. It was the first like full island I'd been on. So just like it was just the pace of life was different, and just, like little things that you wouldn't expect of like, oh, the groceries are a little more expensive because everything has to get shipped out there to get to
The
you, you
chips
know?
and bread are stale.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool to just like, yeah, like
learn about that. And then I had a couple friends that lived out there, and I didn't get to go see them. I've only been once, but it was definitely a neat experience. And I would like to go back now, like especially like as a more well-rounded traveler. I think it'd be neat to go back.
Yeah, like I remember FaceTiming my cousin when we were both in high school, and this was at the time when they were living out in Maui. And there was like these weird like like in the background. I was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry, it's the chickens." And I was like, "Aren't you at school?" And she's like, "Yeah, look, they're right here." And there's like 20 chickens like in the courtyard. I was like, "What?"
Amazing.
Like, I want to go play with the school chickens. What the hell?
Yeah. I feel like I would be very distracted and not. I would like school was hard enough to like keep me interested, and like if there were just chickens and like cool ass animals outside, I'd be like, I'm just gonna go play with those things, and
Yeah,
I think it'd be difficult for me to concentrate.
for sure.
So you all had the vegan restaurant, so you're vegan. Did you like did you grow up vegan?
Actually, no,
Oh, okay.
not at all. Isn't that weird?
I don't think so. I just always wondered like because you had like because of the restaurant, like I know like I'll talk to some people at vegan restaurants where I travel all over the world, and they're like, I'm not vegan, I just need a job, and like so you never know like what version of like care or whatever that goes into the people that even are at those places.
For sure. But yeah, no, growing up in El Paso, which is right on the border of Mexico, like meat is in everything. It's everywhere. It's like you not eating meat is like, why would you do that? Like, where's your protein? Blah, 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 blah. So it like telling my family that I was vegan was like telling them I was gay. It was like the same, like the same, like,
Yeah. Ugh.
you know,
Or you
like
have to
why?
explain like I think if you told them you were gay, they'd probably be like, "Well, at least I know what that is." They might not like it, but like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people when they hear vegan, they're like, "Now, do you do you eat like turkey?" And you're like, "Girl, come
So
on."
you eat fish. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Oh, you like
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's always the question of like, you're close. You're close there.
Can you eat Mija, can you eat potatoes? I'm like, yes, grandpa.
Shit, we would all
Like
die as vegans if we couldn't eat potatoes. Let's be real.
real. So
Real.
true.
Like potatoes save my life. Like most times when I can't find something on the menu, it's just like, you got fries? Cool,
Yeah,
let's do
French
it.
fries. Done.
Which we love fries. Like, come on, who
Oh yeah,
doesn't?
fries are good. But yeah, so my parents they started off making vegan gyros
Oh,
or
amazing.
gyros. I forget how they're called. Um, because people kept requesting them. So my dad was like, I guess I'll make them and I'll make homemade seitan. I've never done this before. And was kind of messing around with it and he liked it. Mind you, none of us were vegan.
Hmm.
Then my parents opened up a vegan restaurant. Mind you, none of us were vegan. you know?
Yeah.
So I think I was the first one to become vegan. I was having like a lot of stomach issues and like really bad depression. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's gonna kill me first, me or my stomach, like you know.
Yeah.
So so I thought, let me try being vegan for a week. And literally like the sickness that I've had for 6 months went away in a week.
Amazing.
I just thought that was crazy. Um and I've been vegan ever since. Well, I can't even okay. Vegan ever since and then I moved out and it's a little cheaper to buy a cake with eggs than one with no eggs, you know? So if it's like
Sure.
a baked good and there's eggs baked into it, I'll have it. But like strict vegan, where I was just vegan all the way through, was about 4.5 years.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Now if I cook for myself, I make it vegan. If somebody's like, "You want a Reese's peanut butter cup?" Hell yeah, I want a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah. Yeah. They make vegan ones now.
They do, and they're pretty
They're
good.
they're rare to find. I hardly ever find them, but they're out there in the world, which is nice. Um, yeah, it's funny, like my journey into veganism was because of health issues, like because of my drinking habits. I was like dying of liver failure and I wasn't eating and like just shit was all awry in my in my system. So the doctors basically were like, don't ever drink again, get yourself healthy, start exercising and like blah blah blah, right? And so I like yeah, I just had this journey of like I got really sick with red meat the next time I ate it, and I was like, cool, I'm not doing red meat because they also were like, listen to your body, like your body's gonna tell you where it's headed and what it wants, and
For
you've
sure.
treated it like shit for years, so like it's time to like pay attention to your body, let your body talk,
Yeah.
like the old song, let your body talk. So I got really sick, and then I was eating like the chicken and like the the lighter meats, and I was like feeling okay, but I wasn't feeling the greatest. And then I worked with a band who they were all like vegans at home and then pescatarians on the road, just because sometimes it's harder to eat fully vegan on the road. I think it's doable if you just really want to, but whatever. But like then I jumped to pescatarian and I started feeling a little better. And then Lindsay and I, who you met, we were in like northern Finland and we had this really awesome fish dish that was like exclusive to this like region of Finland, and it was a winter fish that they only could catch in the winter. And both of us were
Oh,
kind of like,
crazy.
I think we're gonna end on this one. Like, this is just a cool thing to like. I'm sure somewhere else in the world there would have been like some badass, like well designed thing with fish that could have been really cool. But I was like, I think I'm done. And she was like, yeah, cool, let's do that. So like then I was thinking, I'll just go vegetarian. And then I started seeing like, like as our they, like then you get the sponsors ads and like PETA videos started coming up and like the chicken farms and like all this shit. And I was like, okay, you know what? If I'm cutting meat out and I'm cutting fish out, then I'm cutting literally everything out. So I skipped straight from pescatarian to vegan, which in January will be 4 years, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
But I always tell people too, I'm like, as someone who like, I mean, I was younger then, obviously, but like, I was mid 30s then, and it was like when I was still trying to get myself healthy, when I started like working out or I would go for like a long walk or something, like when I switched to veganism, like I would feel my body like just react way quicker, like it would just bounce back quicker.
Yeah.
And I just felt
It's
better in every single
crazy.
way. And I just felt like, unlike Mario when you get the little mushroom and you're like doo 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 doo. I just felt like this awesome, yeah, this awesome boost in everything in my body. And then I started looking and there was like a very good parallel between like veganism and sobriety, which makes sense because if you've like fucked up your body far enough to where you need to get sober, it's good to take the processing out of your body, you know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, it makes sense when you were saying like you just like started to feel better.
Yeah, and I thought it was weird. I was like, nah, that's not that's not why. It's because I was really I don't know why. I wasn't against it, but I was kind of mad that my parents would be like, let's not have bacon this time and let's get vegan bacon. I'm like, or like I was just it would piss me off. I was like, no, we're not doing that. I mean, I was also like 14, 15, so
Yeah,
and any kind of change would just make me upset.
of course. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do at those moments,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
against your parents. Even if they're cool, you're like, nah,
Mhm.
fuck that. But maybe, okay,
Like,
maybe it's a good
you
idea.
can't tell me. And then I was like, I'm gonna try it and not tell anybody so they
Right,
don't get a win.
right. I did my own research on my own time. It was not you, mom. It was not you, dad. It was all
Yeah.
me.
I'm like, I did it first,
Yeah, bitch.
bitch.
Yeah. Yeah,
Real.
it's funny though, like I don't know, when people ask me, they're always like, I would go vegan except for I couldn't give up. And then they fill in their blank. And I'm like, honestly, like when I was dating someone like, I mean, wow, Jesus, it was like 2010, she was vegetarian until she got drunk and then like just enjoyed whatever she wanted. So it was just like, one of those vibes, whatever, all good. And then like I was just coming off of a tour where I was like in a van, so I was eating just complete shit all diet. It was just like we're all broke as fuck and we're eating fast food. 3-4
Yeah.
times a day, all day, every day. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try vegetarianism with her. And that was like my first time like taking that route. And like the things just weren't good. Like the substitutes just were not great. And I
Yeah.
kind of went, I just don't think I could do it. But now I'm just, I mean, I took some friends. I was in DC yesterday working a show, and we had like an hour break. And there was this place in DC called Hip City Veg, like right beside the arena that we were working in. And I was
Hmm.
like, you all don't have to go, but like it's a quick, easy vegan spot that I could get like a cheesesteak sandwich and, some fries. And they were like, no,
Yeah.
no, no, we're good. We'll check it out. And they were like, had you blindfolded me, I never would have known. I would have just been like, wow, this is a really awesome burger. And I was like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it like I don't know, the stigma around it. Like some people are so funny where they're just like scared to try it. And I'm like, bitch, it just means there's nothing dead and decaying in it.
Yeah. Like there's no living thing that shits and has sex in it, bro.
That's even better. I say dead and decaying, but like shits and has sex. That one's way more vivid and I think is like pretty like yeah, I like that. That's really good.
And like if you eat meat or whatever, I think it's funny when people are like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, can I eat this in front of you? I'm sorry." I'm like, dude, I literally could not care less.
Yeah, you do you. And it's like there's so many people in the world that eat meat that like I'm not going to be mad at you for doing it. Like I
Yeah.
would love it if less people did, but like that's not reality. So like you do you and you have your moral stands where you have it and I'm gonna sit here with mine and feel okay.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I just think it's funny how people get weird hangups with it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I that's weird, or blah 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 blah, or this and that. And I'm like, it's that big of a deal. It's literally like I'm just putting healthy food in my body, man.
Yeah, right. Like there was this guy who I was working with who like was standing in line to get some chili and I walked up and I was like, "Oh, rad, it's vegan chili." It was like a 3-bean chili, just like chock full of like tons of beans and veggies, right? Like chili without the ground beef. And he backed up like I had told him a bomb was about to explode. And he's like, and I was like, dude, what the fuck, man? And he's like, oh, I just don't do that. And I was like, what? You don't eat like good food? I was like, this is probably amazing. And then I was like, Cassie, like, get him a bowl. He's just scared because it's vegan. And she's like, here you go. And like he literally like put the spoon in and was like, it's I mean, it's okay. And I was like, you're so petty. Come on. This is so lame.
Like a kid, ew,
Yeah, like
veggies.
it's okay. I'm like, bitch, if I didn't say anything, you would have been like, this chili's bomb.
Just chili's probably, this is
Damn.
good chili.
Yeah. So silly.
Very silly.
But yeah, so yeah, I always like to ask that too. Like, especially in different parts of the world too, when you find vegan restaurants, because some people are just like, yeah, no, I don't even really know what vegan is or what, like I've had people that are just like not sure and they're just working because they need work. And I'm like, I get that too. That's all good.
Yeah.
But like
Real.
one thing I always get on is like if you work with food and you worked with food, so like I know you agree with this even before I say it, is like I don't ever care that people like give a shit that I'm vegan or whatever. Like I don't need you to like be sympathetic or like it or even whatever, but I'm like you have to know what it is. If you work with food, like you have to know allergies, you have to
Yes.
know dietary restrictions. Like I can't tell you the amount of times, and I'm sure it happens to you too, like where you go somewhere and you're like, is there anything vegan? And they're like, what's vegan? And you're like, bitch, you work at a restaurant. Like, what are you doing? Like you can kill people
Or
with food.
what sucks is that you say, is anything vegan? They're like, yeah, I remember my dad went to this boba place and they're like, yeah, we use a dairy-free creamer. He's like, awesome. And then he comes back the next day and it was a different worker and he's like, did the lady tell you it's vegan? No, it's dairy-free, but it has like casing in it, which comes from, and it's like, nah, that's like that sucks. So, I feel for sure if you're working in the kitchen, you need to know what certain diets are. I think it should be a part of the test that you take, like when you get your food handlers,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's dangerous. Like people can be
Because you can
allergic.
make people really sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like I'm not ever trying to convert people. I will always take people to vegan restaurants and I will always be like, look, here's like it is possible. It's really good. People are really creative with it. So if you want to eat with me, cool. If not, whatever, all good. But that's always my high horse where I'm like, you have to know, like you have to know what it is so that like you don't
Yeah.
harm people, you know? It's like you work with food, you got to know these things. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or actually, I have another bitch where I'm like, if you make a vegetarian thing, make it vegan so we can all eat it. And like, if you want to unveganize it, put your cheese or your eggs in it. Like, just make it
Yeah.
vegan, not vegetarian. I'm always annoyed. I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, you're so close. You're so close.
I'm like, can I get the vegetarian plate? No eggs, no cheese. And they're like, why? Well,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
was hungry. That's why.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I have two more questions that I love to ask everybody that comes on. And the first one, like, it's kind of digging back into you, and I know we've been talking for quite a while about you and your life, but I like to ask, like, what would you want the world to know about you?
Hmm. Um, well, one, I'm an artist. Buy my art.
Which
Um,
I will put links and everything too. So
let's
they'll be able to
go.
find you.
I think I want people to know about me that I'm just like a down to earth person. And I feel that that's very important, especially nowadays. Like people can't connect with the nature or animals or other people around them very much. And I just want other people to know that like I'm a safe space. You know?
Yeah.
I'm good at listening and talking to it. If
Yeah.
you need anything, let me know. Um, also, what else? What else do I want people to know about me? I mean, if they're listening to this, I want them to know that I'm short. Don't
I do love
imagine a
that.
tall person. Imagine a little short person with curly hair and they're 5'3" and they go by they.
I
That's
love
it.
that. Love that. It's, I mean, like that, that is such a real thing because like I can't tell you, like we were like I was fucking up earlier trying to get Zoom working and like the amount of time we all spent on Zoom during COVID was comical when I would meet people that I'd only known through a computer screen. And just the perception of like a person through a screen, I would meet people and I was like, "Oh fuck, I thought you were like way taller." And they'd be
Yeah.
like,
You're
why?
like,
And
oh,
I'm
you're
like, I
fucking
have
short.
no clue. I do not know why that was in my mind, but like, I just wasn't expecting to be taller than you. And I'm not that
Yeah.
tall either, but I was like, I definitely wasn't thinking you were smaller than me.
No, yeah. And what's funny is that even my friends forget how small I am. like, like I'll hang out with certain people every week, and then they kind of just take a second and look, and they're like, "You're really short." I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
know, bro, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get any taller.
Yeah. Here I am. When did you get to 5'3"?
Oh, dude, I think maybe when I was almost 19.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Because I've heard
that's like
people like young they get like as tall as they are and then they just stop at like,
I've always been the youngest. I've always been the shortest, and I will continue being that.
yeah. That's so funny. I love that part of your what you want the world to know. I'm short. That's great.
Yeah.
And then expanding on the they, I know it's so silly that people are so like up in arms about it. Like
hmm
if like I'm sure you've had to like explain it to people. Like how do you explain to people just if they're like, what the fuck? I don't get it.
Yeah, so usually I'm like, I feel like I can relate to being a boy. I feel like I can relate to being a girl, but I don't specify to either one. So I'm some weird gray area that is both, and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, mainly because it doesn't matter, and I think my like feminine and masculine is 50-50. I can just kind of, I'm like, today I'm gonna be a gangster. And I'll wear like big pants. It's funny, people will say that I dress like Adam Sandler. I don't know if you've seen his style,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like big shorts, big shirt, long silly socks. Like that's usually how I dress.
Amazing.
It'll either be that or I'm like, I'm a pretty girl and I'll be a pretty slay girl. But I'm also not a girl. I don't know. It's kind of, if there is like a spectrum on gender, it would be like the gray area middle thing. So I'm like, I can bounce back and forth. I can be whatever I want, but I don't specify to one. Yeah.
And I think it's so cool. I mean, when I was your age, there definitely was not that. There was no no pronouns, and I feel like growing up, I would have definitely felt that. Like I still feel that way, but like I definitely like, especially when I was younger, I would have it would have clicked far quicker for me if that would have been a
Yeah.
thing. I would have been like, oh fuck, like that's yeah, like like I do feel masculine, but I also love the feminine energy, and it's such a like cool balance that once you accept it, like it's in everybody, but it's just a matter of like which one you or how much you let out or accept.
Yeah. Real. Yeah. And I think as I got older and then I got better friends, honestly, it was kind of more comfortable because at first I was not comfortable with it. I was like, I'm a girl and I like boys and wiener and you know. And then I was like, well, I like boys, but maybe I like boobies too. And I was like, and maybe I don't like I don't feel specific to being a boy or a girl. I'm like, because I'm not a boy, but I'm also not a girl. You know? So, and then my friends were like, well, duh, neither am I. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And then all of them were like, I'm actually a boy, or I'm actually a girl. I'm actually neither. I'm actually both. And I was like, so it doesn't matter. And they're like, no, you just do what feels right, like in your heart. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a lot easier than what I've been thinking. So
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, like, especially when you find those people in your life that see you with that and they're just like, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. Like, be you and you're gonna be accepted for you. And like that's all we care about. We just want you to be you. And like, you know, like whenever I get shit for wearing the dresses that I wear, I'm just like, I'm just very comfortable in my skin and like
yeah,
it's fine. It's nothing harmful to you. This is just like where I'm comfortable and leave me alone. Like you do you. I won't ever judge you for what you're wearing, what you're doing, like, but like it's just so weird when people get so up in arms about it. It's like, yeah,
it's very silly.
yeah. But I love
But
I love that I see it a lot more in your generation. Like my generation, I think is catching up to it. Like once it became a thing, I think a lot of us, like I'm 38 now, and I think a lot of people my age or older are like we understand the concept because
mhm.
like it's not the first time people have been thinking about this, right? It's just the first time like we're actually labeling things and like taking it back and owning it for ourselves. But it's really cool. Like, I mean, my cousin who's coming over tomorrow, she's in seventh grade, and she picked the school she's going to because they asked her pronouns. And I was like,
Oh,
how fucking cool is that?
yeah.
And I was just like, it's so neat that someone so much younger than me is like growing up in a time that is a thing where people are respectful. Obviously, there's the opposite where people aren't, but there is a thing where like it's becoming the space for it. And I just think it's so neat, like because there's such a spectrum of sexuality and gender and just life in general. And it's really cool that the younger generations are right in the midst of it and just being like your friends, like, yeah, you're a boy, you're a girl, you're neither, fuck it, whatever, like you're a human and we love you, which is amazing.
And I feel like the more confident people are, like the funnier your jokes get. Like if you're not a funny person, you are insecure. You know? Like if you can't go and if somebody's like, what's your pronouns and starts making fun of you, you gotta be like, she it. Shit.
Shit. Shit.
Shit. Like if you can't be silly,
right,
then go be comfortable with yourself. Go find yourself, bro.
yeah, go talk to yourself and get silly with yourself and just laugh and enjoy and smile. And I'm directing this back to you, but I do remember like when we came there, like you were helping us the whole way through, explaining like the whole experience that we were about to have, and then like we chatted to you about your art afterwards, because I'm pretty sure I was like, whose art is this? And you're like, that's mine. And I was like, damn, this is amazing. But like I don't know, you just have such a warm and welcoming, like safe space, just such a like good character that I was just like instantly like, you're awesome, I like you.
Aw, thank you.
All those years ago.
I know, that's very cool. Like you met me once and you're like, let me interview you for my podcast.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
To know that I had that impact was very cool.
Well, I mean, that's why I call it the Beautifully Human podcast, and why I don't ever like I don't like to do the research of people. I just want like people to tell their version of their lives, because anyone can look at anyone's life and judge them, but I don't want to do that. I want to hear what your experience in life, and just, give the power back to you to say you had an impact on my life. And not a lot of people get to hear that in life, that you got to have a big impact on people. And it's why I started a podcast ages ago. It's because someone like in my sobriety, they found their sobriety because they were like, well, if Nick can do it, then I can do it. And it was really amazing, because I was like, damn, I had no clue no clue that I was like impacting people in the world. So I wanted to give that empowerment back to people and just say, like, your life is interesting no matter what you've done, no matter where you are in the world. Like, it is really cool to hear life from humans.
I like that. It's very cool. I'm glad that you're the person doing it too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And so I like this one too, because it's kind of taking what I just asked and like all the things we've been talking about, and say you're sitting there and you're in an art gallery, but literally every single person in the whole world is there. What would you say to them?
I would say, your mom, your mom, your mom. And I'm so serious about that.
I love that.
I have nothing else to say to anybody.
That's fantastic. I think that might be the best answer. And then just mic drop and walk away.
Yeah. Like with a megaphone. Your mom. Your mom. And then I'd run, and that's it. And then they never see me again.
I love it. It's perfect. It's a perfect way to end. And thank you for hanging out and spending time and chatting. It's been really fun.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you for listening to the Beautifully Human podcast. To hear more beautiful stories from beautiful humans, follow us on Spotify and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at the Beautifully Human Podcast. Peace signs up.